All right, let's dive into this treasure trove you've sent over about goal setting. It's like you've curated the ultimate guide to building a life you love. Notes, articles, even reflections on flow state, you name it.
And it's fascinating how many angles there are to explore, right? We've got the practical side of time management, the psychology of motivation, and everything in between.
One thing that really jumped out at me, though, was this idea of life as a canvas. Like we're all artists, each with a blank canvas, but instead of paint, we're using goals and actions.
That's such a powerful metaphor, isn't it? It really highlights how important it is to be intentional with our lives. Like that blank canvas has so much potential, but it takes vision and action to make something amazing. And goal setting is like saying, this is what I'm going to create.
Totally. It gives us direction, purpose. But how do we actually go from a vague idea to something concrete, something we can actually achieve? A lot of what you've said talks about SMART goals.
SMART goals are a brilliant framework. They're like a quality control system for your ambitions.
A quality control system.
Yeah, think of it like a checklist, making sure your goals are ready for action. So, is your goal specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound? If it ticks all those boxes, you're good to go.
Okay, so instead of just saying, I want to travel more, a SMART goal would be something like, I want to save up enough money to visit Japan for 2 weeks next spring.
Exactly. Now that's specific. You can measure your savings progress. It's hopefully achievable for you. It aligns with your travel desire, and it's got a deadline.
Night and day, right. A hazy dream transformed into a solid plan.
And that's the thing. A lot of what you shared emphasizes this idea that goals are not just static destinations, but like dynamic forces that help us grow.
So it's not just about checking things off a list,
Yeah.
but about who we become along the way.
Absolutely. Every goal you pursue, well, it's going to present challenges, right? It demands you learn new skills, and it really puts your resilience to the test. It's like leveling up as you overcome each obstacle.
I love that analogy. So speaking of leveling up, that brings us to the psychology of goal setting. Your notes really dig into how setting a goal isn't just a to-do list, but it actually changes our thinking and behavior.
It's true. It's like programming your internal GPS for success. Suddenly, your mind is laser focused on finding opportunities, solutions that all move you towards that goal. You start seeing things you might have missed before.
It's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy, isn't it?
Exactly. And it reminds me of one of the metaphors from the sources you sent over about the captain of a ship charting a course.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
So the captain, that's you, setting the destination, which is your goal. The crew is like all your effort, and you navigate through rough seas and calm waters, which represent the inevitable challenges. It's all about teamwork.
Even the sturdiest ships face rough seas sometimes, though. That's where resilience comes in. And I love the analogy of a tree bending in the wind.
Oh, that's beautiful imagery. Resilience isn't about avoiding those challenges, right? It's about bending without breaking. Learning from your mistakes, bouncing back from setbacks, and figuring out how to move forward when things get tough.
So it's like adapting and becoming stronger because of the challenges we face.
Exactly. Now here's something that blew my mind. Parkinson's law. The idea that work will always expand to fill the time we give it.
It's so true, isn't it? We've all
Yeah.
been there, stretching a 1-hour task into an entire afternoon.
Exactly. But it's what this implies about goal setting that's fascinating. If you don't set deadlines, if you don't create that sense of urgency, well, you'll just end up procrastinating forever.
Deadlines are like that friend who knows you can do better, but they're not afraid to give you that little push.
They're the best kind of friends, aren't they? And speaking of doing better, I was fascinated by all the research you sent about flow state, this almost mythical state of peak performance and total immersion.
It's like those moments where you're completely absorbed in what you're doing, right? Time just melts away.
Exactly. Athletes, artists, even coders describe this incredible feeling of being in the zone, where they're totally focused and loving the work itself.
I definitely get glimpses of it sometimes. Those times when I'm so focused that hours feel like minutes. It's amazing.
It really is. And it's not just about getting things done quickly. It's about that sweet spot, right? Where the challenge of the task perfectly matches your skill level. That's the breeding ground for flow.
So how do we tap into that superpower? Can we make it happen on demand?
You can't exactly force flow, but you can definitely create the right conditions for it to blossom. Think about tasks that really get you fired up, things that play to your strengths and passions. Then get rid of any distractions, set a clear goal for the session, and just see what happens.
It's like setting the stage for flow to make an appearance. And it transforms work from a chore into something you genuinely enjoy doing.
Absolutely. There's a sense of fulfillment, right? It's like the difference between dragging yourself through a workout and losing yourself in a dance.
But it's not just about chasing any goal that comes to mind, is it? There's this theme running through all your research about making sure our goals actually align with our values.
That's crucial. It's like your values are your inner compass. They're going to guide you towards a life that feels truly authentic and meaningful. When your goals are in sync with those values, well, you'll find a level of motivation and fulfillment that's just not possible otherwise.
It's like finding your true north, making sure you're heading in a direction that feels right deep down.
Exactly. And one of the sources you sent had this brilliant analogy about gardening.
Oh yeah, about how our goals are like seeds and our mindset is the soil.
Spot on. Just like a gardener has to take care of the soil, right, to make sure their plants can flourish, you need to cultivate a mindset that supports your goals. Are you fostering positivity, resilience, and a willingness to learn from those setbacks?
So it's about creating the right environment internally, not just focusing on the external goal itself.
That's a great way to put it. And that's where self-discipline comes into play, too. You need fertile soil to make those seeds grow, but then you need to tend to the garden.
It's that bridge between dreaming of a lush garden and actually getting out there to weed, water, and do the work day after day.
It's what unlocks the potential of goal setting, right? It's the commitment to showing up even when you don't feel like it, even when there are other more tempting things to do. It's choosing your goals over distractions.
One of the sources put it so well. Self-discipline is the sculptor's chisel, shaping those raw materials into a masterpiece. It's all about consistency.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be about being harsh on yourself or denying yourself things. It's more about making choices that align with your goals, choices you can feel good about.
It's about saying, I'm choosing this because it matters to me.
Now that's empowering. And speaking of powerful tools, you also included a lot about visualization.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's almost like we can rewire our brains for success just by using our imagination.
It's incredibly powerful, and it's backed up by science. When you really vividly imagine yourself achieving your goals, you're activating the same neural pathways as if you were actually doing the actions.
So it's like mental rehearsal for the big game, like athletes do.
Exactly. And the more you practice visualizing that success, the more familiar and achievable it feels. But, we're not meant to do this alone. There was a lot in your research about the power of collaboration.
Having a support system, those people who cheer us on, makes such a difference. It's like having a team rowing the boat with you.
Absolutely. We're social creatures, and we thrive in environments where we feel supported. Sharing your goals with someone you trust, whether it's a friend, a mentor, or a coach, gives you accountability and encouragement. It's like a team rowing the boat with you, all pulling in the same direction. And don't forget celebrating those wins, even the small ones.
Exactly. We have to give ourselves a high five every now and then, no matter how small the step forward.
Exactly. Celebrating is so important for keeping that motivation going. It reinforces those positive behaviors and reminds you how far you've already come.
So it's about acknowledging our progress and letting ourselves enjoy the ride.
Absolutely. And to make sure we're constantly learning and growing,